It is a great joy to come into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. This is Emmanuel Mensah, a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At the Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of thought, universal laws and principles, and how these laws and our thinking or thought patterns comes to get together to create our life circumstances, conditions that we call reality. And so all human beings are creating their own realities, whether you know this or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you disagree with it or not. That is the truth. You are creating your own reality. Nothing has ever been forced into your life, and nothing will ever be forced into your life. You are the creator of your own life, because you are the only custodian and the owner of your mind. And therefore, as you use your mind will create that experience for you. It's just like you cannot ride a car. If you are a driver, you are driving a particular car. The experience you have for driving that car is yours alone. People outside, standing outside, don't have that experience. And therefore, for the fact that you are the one driving the car, you are the only person that will feel that experience, because you are in a car and you are operating the car. So it is with your mind. Anyway, we are just moving on to our area of focus. We are not dealing with metaphysics predominantly here, but we are using the metaphysical principles to present our messages. And so I have been speaking about the quest for uniform and sustainable development in Africa, using Ghana as an example for the past days and weeks. And I have touched on a lot of areas. Yesterday, I spoke on the working class, and that is what I'm going to continue today. But before we go on, I just want to take this opportunity to remind you that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Click on the subscribe button and also listen to our messages all the time and circulate them in your network. If you have already done that, we salute you and let us continue to do the good work. And also, if you want to contribute to this project in any way, you can leave a note in the comment section. And especially if you are in Canada, in the Greater Toronto area, and you want to be involved in this project physically, that one too, you can leave a note in the comment sections and we will connect with you on the other side. So having said all this, now let us move on to our topic. Yesterday, I spoke about the need for the deliberate creation of the working class in Africa. We have what we called workers in Africa, but they are disorganized. And just like water, when you organize water and put it in a tube and give it an elevation, this water will run with force to do a lot of things. The same water, if you allow it and just allow it to spread everywhere on the ground, it will generate no power. Part of it will go east, part of it will go west, part of it will go south, depending on the elevation. But the fact is that the power that a harness water produces is not the same as the one that is allowed to scatter. It is the same with energy. If you harness energy and give it the right direction, it will work to produce amazing things. If you let your energy scatters, you produce nothing. And so that is where we are now. Africa, we haven't actually paid much attention to what we call the working class. After colonization and we gained independence, Africans, we thought we can fast track ourselves to develop nations. And so Ghana took the first step, or took the lead. And therefore, our first president or our first government created import substitution industries, and all these industries were running. But as a matter of fact, if you look at the situation critically, even if these industries were running till today, Ghana would have still run into difficulties because the manpower, the skilled workers to man advanced factories were not in existence in those days. But if our educational system had paid attention on creating this working class, the manpower, or the working class, people with special skills, and nurse it throughout generation, by now we would have a working class that is well organized, that is more powerful. Anyway, that is just by the way. That is how our leaders at that time saw it. There is nothing wrong with that. It's all part of our evolution. And therefore, whatever happens in between, it doesn't really matter. But what matters now is what we are doing now. Whatever happened had happened. But what we are going to do now will be what will happen in the future. So we have the opportunity to recreate this situation, or we have the opportunity to create a different one that is more befitting and more advantageous, you see. And so it is time for us to begin to take our attention to focus our attention on the working class. It is not just uneducated men and women doing farming, fishing, and all those things that we say they are the working class. No, they have their class. And even in most places, in advanced nations, those who are into agriculture are well-educated people. They are using high-level technology now, you see. And so the working class, that brings about employment that everyone is looking for nowadays, that we are looking for, especially those who are completing universities and higher education, will only be possible only we have the working class. And that working class must be vibrant, because the working class is the group of people that produces what every investor wants. If you go to any factory, you will never see accountants. You will never see auditors and other things doing the actual job that produces the commodities. But it is the factory hands, those who knows how to do plumbing, those who know electricals, those who knows all this kind of jobs that are trades or skills specially learned. They are those keeping the factory on. And if this group of people are not in existence in your economy, or they are not organized, then there is no way that you will have people coming into your nation to invest, to establish businesses, especially when it comes to production, of goods and services. And so this is the time that we have to take a critical look at our system. And if you are honest with yourself, you will realize that our system has no room for this group of people. And that is why this education is coming your way, that you are the ordinary people, you are the citizens of the nations, and it is only when you know what you want that you can make a demand to anyone. And so now, instead of you thinking that your children must go to university to attain attain degrees, now majority of you have to turn their attention to the fact that there is also a very important aspect of education, which is the college and trade vocational institutions education. And therefore, we will encourage our children. And as a matter of fact, if you even look at, if you are observant, every parent knows this. If you take a critical look at of your children, you see that some of them are technically oriented. They like fixing things. They like doing this. They like doing that. Those children could be helped to develop their skills to a higher level. And those will eventually become the inventors, you see. And so they appeal to you, or they plea to you, the men and women of Africa, Ghana in particular, as we are using Ghana as a case study, there is an equal value in college and vocational education as it is in the university or higher level education. But the fact is that for those who will go to higher level, those who will go to university to get jobs, we must make conscious effort to help those who will not go there to create their own skills or to develop their skills such that they'll be able to raise funds, they'll be able to generate ideas to create businesses and employ even their fellows who have these skills, you see. And so if you come to the advanced world, as a matter of fact, if you take things like carpentry, mason, all these kind of jobs, they don't do it haphazardly as it is in Africa. If you go to Africa, you see someone who has his shed somewhere that is a carpenter. And all that they do is bam, bam, bam. I mean, making all these noises. They don't even have the basic tools to do the work. You see someone, he said he is an electrician. The person hasn't even got any qualification in that, you see. And so this is the time that we have to look at and organize our college system, such that those who are interested, those who have these areas as their interest, will be able to go there and develop their skills. And then when they come by, they become a pool of skilled workers that can help us transform our nations, that can help us transform our towns and cities. That is a fact. So there is the need for educational system that encourages, that promotes college education. And as a fact, if you go to America, if you go to Britain, if you go to Germany, anywhere in the advanced world, college education is that matters. Even go to China. How many Chinese young men and women working there have degrees? They don't have degrees. They only have certifications and qualifications and these traits. And that is why you see almost everything is coming from China, because they have developed their youth, their population in such a way that they have the skills and the ability to do this tasks that are needed at the factory hands, or the operator, the engine of the factory. And that is the working class. You see, and so you will see that Apple and all these big companies that have outsourced their operations into Asia, they didn't do it because they hate Africans, that they didn't bring it to Africa. But the fact is that the opportunity in Asia was there. They have developed themselves. Their educational system, everything was geared towards producing manpower, young men and women, able-bodied people that have the ability to work and produce goods and services. Accountants will not produce goods and services. Economists will not produce goods and services. Have you ever been to a hospital where you've seen the medical doctor all the time? No. If you're admitted at the hospital, the people that you work with are the nurses. And most of the people that work in, have the special skills, you see. But the nurses are the key people that you will be working with. So without the nurses, the whole health system cannot be run. You have never seen an educational minister teaching in classrooms, but you see teachers in classroom. Without teachers, there will not be educational minister, you say. And so much as we value these top positions, the fact also remains that they can only exist only when we have the working class. And the whole society, the whole population cannot be ministers, cannot be doctors, cannot be these big positions. The bulk who are not must have a place. But there must be the right structures, you see. And so my call to you today is that emancipate yourself from this mental bondage about education, that you only see university education as the only credible level of education that your family member, your children, or you yourself must attain. You can be successful and perform well and be a prominent person if you develop your skills and work with it with bravery and enthusiasm, as a matter of fact. And so this is the time that Africans, the call has come onto us. We are in a certain mental bondage. And as a matter of fact, it's because we've been conditioned by the colonial issues. You see, after independence, we thought we can do everything right away and rise up to become superpowers. But it doesn't work like that. You see, it doesn't work like that. You must develop from the scratch. It doesn't matter where you are standing, you can develop from the scratch and build on purpose, such that you build a very beautiful system. You build a very beautiful commodity or product that you are trying to build, you see. And so there is the need for us to pay attention on the working class. All our artisans, like those who are in blacksmith, those who are in the welding, those who are in the, by this time we should have recognized and approved colleges in every district, training young men and women with these hands-on skills. We should have proper computing skills, educational programs that our young ones will be introduced to programming and other computer skills. How to develop hardware, all these things are done at the college level, but not at the university. You will never see any of these skills being developed in the university classroom. University education are what? Academics. You read books and develop theories, you see. And so this is the time that we have to become awakened and begin to talk to one another. There is the need, there is time. This is the time for us to turn our attention from this abnormal obsession of university education. The amount of money that men and women are spending to do online courses, online university courses in Africa, Ghana, is unheard of. Then they will finish it and then walk around that there is no job. You see, the amount of money that people use to sponsor their family members to come to abroad to do university education. And at the end of it, they remain here and they don't even go back to Africa. And over here, they do these manual jobs. Most of us have to turn around to do these manual jobs. You could see a graduate who holds a PhD that is doing plumbing, or he's doing something, he's actually, operating a forklift in a factory. What is the meaning of this? You say, this person could have developed another skills in Africa and established himself and also contribute to the creation of the pool of skilled workers, which the government can use to pitch investors to bring them to Africa, that we have the skilled workers, that you can get them at a cheaper labor. And when they establish their businesses, there are employment for these people. Then there will be employment for those who have higher education. They will work for them as accountants, payroll managers, and all these kind of positions, you say. And so this is the time that we have to think critically and think in the right way. Africa's educational system just need a complete scrap, and we're really developing a new one. If we can be that bold, and as I've always been saying, if I'm in the seat of the president of Ghana today, the educational ministry will be a different thing. The educational ministry will be a different thing. On purpose and on principle, I would take the necessary steps to make sure that the educational ministry or education, matters relating to education, will no longer be controlled by a ministry, but it will be controlled and managed by an independent, apolitical body. That they will be responsible for the redrawing and renewal, reviewing of our educational policies. And when we do that, career politicians will not take education and make it as part of their manifestos only to win votes. And then when they come, they want to patch up things to tell the people that they are doing something. So today this person comes, they do this, tomorrow they do that. So we don't really have a direct route, a direction that we are going. And if no nation, no country has ever done what I'm saying, I will do it for us to be the first people to do it. Education will be an independent body that will manage our educational system. And before any educational policy will be change, it must go through proper research and analysis, and I justify why it had to be changed, such that we will make college education the main focus of our educational process. Most of the universities will be demoted into colleges, polytechnics, and training centers. As a matter of fact, if I'm in the seat of John Mahama, the president of Ghana today, this is what I would do. And this is why you guys have to ask of him and all other people who will come as your leaders. There is the need for us to open up our countries. There is the need for us to take the right approach. Education is very necessary. But Ghana's education is producing men and women who lack skills. And these skills, this is happening because we are focusing on only tertiary education or university education. Let us bring in polytechnics. Let us bring in vocational institutions, training centers, colleges. And these institutions will train our people. They will come together, form association, and then standardize the way of doing things like plumbing, carpentry, and all those things. We put it in a standardized format like what it is done in European. We are copying the Europeans and the North Americans, but as a matter of fact, some of the standards set in Europe and North America are not workable in Africa because of the weather condition and some of this, and when it comes to production of goods and services, and even when it comes to construction. We can look at our own circumstances and then tweak whatever we have to mirror what we are facing. That is why we can also create things as the African invention. This will not be possible when we are only focusing on university education. It will be possible only when we direct our future engineers, our future middle class or working class into the right route, that they will become established people, that most of them will be inventors, that they will invent a lot of things, you see. And so this is the time that we got to wake up. The focus, there is the need for us to take the practical steps to create the working class, a pool of class, a pool of popular citizens who have special skills, and we are not training them for them to go to other countries to work, but we are training them to stay in our country so that we establish our businesses. You say, we are training them to stay in our country so that we establish our businesses. You say, it is only people are moving out of our country because there are no jobs. And as a matter of fact, even if you come to Europe, North America now, job situation is becoming difficult because of the influx of immigrants. And we have become a laughing stock. It is because we are not able to develop our area. You see, this is the time that we have to rise up. We have a lot of people, with young men and women walking up and down, selling things on the street as hawkers, selling things in the market as hawkers. We can gather all these young men and women and train them and give them skills that they will be able to use to contribute to the development of the nation. We can put them together and help them, train them, organize them, and help them to form partnership. Put them through the proper training that they'll form partnership. Build organizations from scratch for them to become bigger organizations. This is how it is done, or it has been done everywhere in the world. Any organization, any company that you see it as big companies were created by just 2 or 3 or 4 unknown people with a purpose. And they pushed it to a point that it has become a world phenomenon, a world class. But this is done only by people who have the skills, who knows. And even if you are a millionaire, if you are a billionaire, if you are any high class person, if you establish your business, you need these people in order for them to help you to produce your goods and services. The needs of human beings is growing. There will be no day that human beings will not need goods and services. Even with this technology, this kind of automation and other things, we'll still be needing skilled workers. And even when automation comes, that is when we even need the skilled people, because the machines must be manned by people. But these skills will only be attained or will begin only through the college and vocational polytechnic institutions. So now let us elevate this institution to another level, such that it will no more be a disgrace for any young man to go to polytechnic or to go to any of these trade institutions, but it will be a pride that this is what he wants to be, this is what he or she wants to do. Therefore, he go and do it with pride. Even he has the best grade at the GCE and he decides to go and do plumbing, he's supposed to be celebrated because he's following his or her passion. That is what is supposed to be done. So let us emancipate ourselves. We Africans are in a mental bondage. Whether you are educated or you are not, you are in this bondage. If that is not the case, you will know that you would have actually done something. With the exception of a few people, majority of Africans are in bondage of this fact, that they are only preoccupied or they are busy with helping only those students that or their family members that can go to university. If you can't go to university, you are taken as useless. Therefore, you are asked to go to do other things, or you don't have value, you say. But as a matter of fact, by this mental attitude, we are neglecting our engineers, we are neglecting our innovators, we are neglecting our world-class inventors. Until we develop this class of people, we will not see manufacturing or innovation spreading out of the country. Yeah, so that is my message for you. Working class is necessary. It's even more important than university graduates. And as I've always been saying, if I am in the seat of the president of John Mahama, the seat of the president of Ghana, President John Mahama, this is what I would do. There are a lot of things that I would do, that even if Ghanaians become offended and overthrow me the next day, I will do it. One, I will use the military. I will set up paramilitary units in every district. All the youth that are standing on the streets in the cities, selling as hawkers, and everyone will be gathered and put into this paramilitary unit. And I will use the regular army to train them in the building of bridges and roads to open up the whole nation. If I do this and the army becomes offended and they overthrow me the following day, I'll feel proud. I will use them to open every part of Ghana, such that you can travel from point A to B, and education will no longer be a ministry. It will be under an independent body, which is apolitical. That the people in charge will look at only the interests and the needs of the nation. A lot of changes will come. You see, I've spoken about a lot of things, housing and all those things. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'm just rehashing on some of these things. These are some of the decisions that we need to take. Though it may not be comfortable, we need to swallow that bitter pill, such that we'll transform ourselves. Gold must go through fire to become refined. Oil must go through a process for it to become refined. And therefore, for us to be a developed nation, for us to become a nation that everyone in the world will respect, we must go through a certain process, a certain transformation process. And that is what I'm telling you. You will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I have said a lot, and I leave the rest to you. It is my belief and my prayer, my dominant thought, my perfect mental picture of every one of you is that you become awakened to this, that you let us team up and begin to look at things from a different way. This is a new mindset. This is a new way of thinking. This is a new way of doing things. And that is to bring transformation, purpose, and a better way of doing things, such that every human being in Africa, in Ghana, will realize his potentials that he or she is carrying. We are all potentials and possibilities. We can do anything in this world. Thank you. That is my message for you. Now, before I sign off, I just want to remind you, please click on the subscribe button and then circulate these messages in your network. If you want to be part of this project and help us to bring this emancipation and empowerment message, please leave a note in the comment section, especially if you're in the Toronto area And I will connect with you so that we'll pick up from there. It is time for us to begin. It is time for us to take our rightful place in the world. But this can only happen only when we look at things from the right perspective under the radar of principle. Principle is the key. Thank you, and God bless you.